Be honest. How many times did you find yourself watching that Stadium Series game last night between the Bruins and the Lightning down in Tampa with all the Pirates in their full pirate attire during Gasparilla weekend? How many times did you find yourself thinking that one of them was just going to grab that microphone or even look at the camera and say, Parlay? I mean, they had everything. They had treasure chests. They had money coming out. I mean, they essentially gave me all the material I'll ever need for this show for years to come. It was pretty funny watching that, and I just felt like, in honor of that game and in honor of Gasparilla, I think it's time to rip some pirate parlays here on a Monday.
Parlay.
Something that we did last year, or it's already 2 years ago, but trying to sniff out some games with potential ruckus and taking a guy on each team for 2 points. You need the right ingredients for those, though. And I see it a little bit here on Monday. Big slate, a lot of games to choose from. And there's a team in Pittsburgh. We talked about them at some point last week. We're dealing with that rust suspension, and I know we had taken Chinakov for a game there. But what I think about these Pittsburgh Penguins, just like my New York Islanders, I think they're both scams. They shouldn't be in the playoffs. Who knows, with the way this season's going, one or both of them might make it. But what I see is a team in Pittsburgh that has Stuart Skinner as their goalie, and even teams, offensively challenged teams like the New York Rangers, can go right into Pittsburgh like they did over the weekend, score 4 or 5 goals. So I'm looking at the Ottawa Senators, who are going into Pittsburgh. I'm looking at Tim Stützle, who's pumping out a minus 210. And then when you look on the other side, you have Crosby at like minus 200. Oh my God, his line mate Raquel is minus 190. You can't ever make something with that. That's not the case with the Ottawa Senators, which is why I'm going to go with Drake-Batherson for a point there. Minus 120. It's as steep as I like to go when giving you guys a player prop. But the reason is, normally if this was a standard Monday, I'd say, all right, well then throw Stützle in there for a point. You're looking at plus 120, but this is Pirate Parlay Monday after we saw a wild, ruckus-infused game down there in Tampa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Drake-Batherson for 2 points, combine that with Sidney Crosby for 2 points, and now you're at the coveted north of plus 1,000. So that will be our first Pirate Parlay of the day. But I do think this is a game where goals will be scored, and this is one of the ones where I like to do both teams to score 2+. You know, those have been working out. We're on a nice both teams to score 2+ streak. So let's take those both teams to score 2+ and combine it with the San Jose Sharks and the Chicago Blackhawks, both teams to score 2+. Now lately, very scary including the Blackhawks in any sort of both teams to score 1+. Just the way those games have been going for them. Ever since Bedard has returned from injury, we haven't seen them explode, because earlier in the year, I mean, they were scoring goals. But I'm hoping after that last game, couple points in there, I'm thinking that now they can kind of get that going. And they're welcoming in a San Jose Sharks team who's usually pretty reliable. Celebrini is usually good for a point at least. And what I'm looking at in this game, the reason I choose this is because we got that classic Celebrini-Bedard matchup, and I think some goals will be going in this game. When you have two young Canadian stars, the one who made Team Canada versus the one who didn't, I think some goals will be going in here. And look, if you look both of those guys, you're not really going to get... You take both of them for 2 points each. You're barely at, plus 500? So I'm going to try this scam trick. I'm going to use my little Robin sidecar there. It's been working out pretty well. Will Smith honestly has been producing at the same rate that Macklin Celebrini has for the most part since he returned to the lineup. Multiple 2-point performances. So what I'm going to do is just kind of use Will Smith in place of Macklin Celebrini, put him for 2 points, take Connor Bedard at home for 2 points, and that's going to get us around plus 1,000. So that's what I'm going to do there. The second Pirate Parlay to start your week off. But remember, you want to just, take it easy and relax and say, come on, I don't want to be going crazy like that. Then simply just put those both teams to score 2+ with the both teams to score 2+ from the Ottawa-Pittsburgh game. Now, what other games could have some goals in here? What are you seeing over there? I always look for Montreal. Where are they? Where are they? They're almost always good for both teams to score 2+. They're going to Minnesota, a team who I very much like. I very much like the Minnesota Wild. They're stuck in a rat bastard of a division, but mark my words, if they were in pretty much any other division, I would pick them to come out of that division. As always is the case with them, rough division to be stuck in. But they're at home against the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm seeing a duo on the Minnesota Wild, just a standard line combo that I like for a bet. It's one of those. Look, it's not a Suzuki Caulfield. They're not at a plus for this game. It's not Kaprizov Zuccarello. But really, how far is this down? The Boldy Eriksson-Ek duo is one of my favorites. I believe they've hit in back-to-back games since Eriksson-Ek and Boldy have both been back. I mean, Minnesota just exploded up there in Edmonton the other night. At home against the Montreal Canadiens, I think they'll be able to score a couple of goals. So give me Boldy and Eriksson-Ek both for a point at home against the Montreal Canadiens. And then let's orchestrate our third pirate parlay of the day. Give me Boldy for 2, Nick Suzuki for 2. What's the formula here? How do we do? Just sniff out ruckus, a game with many goals. Take the 2 best players. Oh, if that's short of plus 1,000, then just kind of go to the next best player. We went down to Boldy. We took the best player on the Canadiens. We're at plus 1,000. You take a couple of these. One of these hits. If one of these 3 hits, you're obviously well into the profit. I'm hoping one of them is able to hit for you here on this Monday, because that is what I have for you here on this Monday. Good luck to you. Did you say you need a pizzeria pick? Do you need a donkey line, or you're not getting into the club? Well, you can feel free to bet against my New York Islanders if you don't mind. And this more so has to do with the Washington Capitals, because the Islanders did have a couple wins and then they lost in an awful fashion. They let up a goal with like a minute left against the Nashville Predators, and now they're going to Washington, who had that kind of not a players only meeting, but Tom Wilson said this is the most important game of our season. They blew a 3-goal lead, but ended up winning in overtime and followed that up by coming back down from 3-0 against the Carolina Hurricanes to win that game. So those are 2 spirited wins after the must-win that Tom Wilson said was the most important game of their season. You win 2 games like that. If you can't beat this Islander team on your own home ice, I got bad news for you Washington fans long term. But I'm going to go with the Washington Capitals. If I have to pick a donkey line on the night, that is what I have for you here on a Monday. Good luck to you. Doesn't matter. Better luck to me as always. Do me a favor here. If you're enjoying these videos, you enjoy anything. You enjoy something in your own personal life. There's a food in your refrigerator right now that you enjoy. Then let me know you like it by liking this video. It will be liking via osmosis. I don't know. Give me a couple clicks, like the video, comment something down below, click the notifications if you haven't already, because there's weird rules about when they show you, but if you click the notifications, in theory they will show you the videos. And then obviously if you want more people to see this, you want to get that good sports betting karma out there, you click the hype button. Does it actually work? I have no clue. I have zero clue if any of this works. Sometimes I feel like there's a boardroom of people laughing because they got the jester to ask everybody to click the like button. And in their room, it doesn't say the hype button. It says the donkey button. How many times did he get people to click the donkey button? But click that just in case it actually does what it says it's supposed to do. But the best favor you could ever do for me is be the lone sponsor. 0 sponsors here. Not a single company wants to... They don't trust what comes out of my mouth because they know, loose cannon, something could come out in any minute, destroy the whole sponsorship. So how do I combat that? Yes, by making you the lone sponsors of this show. How do you do that? You go to patreon.com/AndyFrancis, and then that comes with other things like, weekend sniffs. You get the chat rooms with the other sniffers and all sorts of other stuff. So I hope to see you over there. If not, I'll see you tomorrow for the next round of NHL Sniffs, and be on the lookout for Super Bowl Dave and a Dan. I just finished editing that, and I'll get that out to you, shortly after this one. So be on the lookout for that. And how do you know? Yeah, that's right. Click the notifications. I'll talk to you later.